Guys, Troy Redstone here, author of 401k Architecture. I hope that you're excited also about the new edition of the Guide to Retirement. We just got this here at our office, the Guide to Retirement, the 2023 edition. This is some really, really helpful information. If you're in the 401k industry, I assume you already have this. If you're an employer that sponsors a workplace retirement plan, I hope that you've got a copy. I hope that you're working with an advisor or a consultant that references this because you're being asked to decide some things about plan design, and those things should not be guesswork. And so there's some really, really great research that goes into this. In fact, there was a couple slides that I pulled out of this last one, and I made a slide presentation to share with some of our clients. I just thought it'd be helpful to kind of illustrate for them like how much they should be saving and how much they should be saving is kind of based on where they are, like their age. So this is from the Guide to Retirement from JPMorgan Chase. Benefits of auto features in a plan design. You guys know what a big fan I am of the auto features. If you've read 401k architecture, you know I'm a big fan. Every plan should be having auto enrollment. Pension Protection Act encouraged it. Secure 2.0 is requiring it for like any new plan going forward. You have to have this, and most of the older plans that were already on the books already have these auto features, so it's really, really helpful. Auto enrollment defaults you at a starting rate, like 3%, 4%, 5%, 6%. You can't go more than 6%, I don't think, because people will unenroll and it's just counterproductive. You certainly shouldn't go less than 3%. You want to probably aim for something like around 5, give or take a little bit, 4, 5, 6. But the idea is that you're auto enrolled at something, and certainly anything that the default is, even if it's only 3, it's better than 0, right? But some employees need to be a little bit more proactive with their account because there's some potential issues with auto enrollment. Now, I know I'm a huge auto enrollment, auto escalation fan, but there are some issues to be aware of. One of them is frequent job changers could be put back in their journey towards retirement if they're not more proactively involved in their retirement. So auto enrollment's great, but an employee's age should also be factored in. We've argued this point. My colleagues and I have argued this point for many years now on Capitol Hill. So I've been honored to be a delegate from the state of Kansas for more than 10 years now for the American Retirement Association and the National Association of Plan Advisors. So I'm on Capitol Hill every single summer advocating for you if you're in a retirement plan to try to make sure that your retirement plan is working better to get more people to the finish line. But this is one of the things that we've brought up a number of times. The auto features are great, but they should take a person's age into consideration. And the idea basically is that if it's not designed properly, or if you change jobs too much, you could be reset to like 5% every time you change jobs. So let's imagine you start out at a company at a 5% auto enrollment. Okay. And then you go to 6 and then to 7 because they have auto increase, and then you change jobs. And your next job, you get reset back to the beginning at 5. Now you could proactively do more than that, but a lot of people don't do anything. And that's the point. You get reset to 5 and you start increasing to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9, then you get reset again. And God forbid, maybe you go to a company where their auto enrollment's at only a 3. So you've got to make sure that you're actively involved in the process. So what should your savings rate be if you're starting today? JP Morgan modeled this for us in some illustrations, and I'm going to show you something. I want to point out the fine print on the page because it'll be really small on the next slide I show you. But it says in their disclosure, this chart is for illustration purposes only, and it must not be relied upon to make investment decisions. So it really is just for illustration purposes. It's just a model. It's an illustration, and here's part of what they modeled this based upon. Pre-retirement portfolios of 60-40 diversified, like 60% in the market, 40% out of the market, like cash or bonds. Your pre-retirement portfolio might be more aggressive than that. A post-retirement portfolio of like 40-60, but your post-retirement portfolio might be more conservative than that. So that's what they're basing their illustrations on. They're also assuming retirement at age 65, but you and I both know a lot of people retire even earlier than that. 62 is the age at which you begin to claim Social Security. So some people will retire at age 62. It also assumes that you're going to live 35 years in retirement. So if you retire when you're 65, if you have 35 years in retirement, that means you're living to be 100. Now, not everybody will live to be 100, but life expectancy has certainly increased, and more people are living much longer. And they also assume an inflation rate, and we all know how much that can change. So, given all of that information, and the guide to retirement. Okay. So they actually have on page 19 some really helpful information on how much you should actually be saving based upon where you are in the journey. The overall all idea of the journey is that the sooner you start, the easier this is going to be. The longer you wait, the more you're going to have to do to actually save. So, auto enrollment often starts a person out at like 3%, 4%, 5%, and that's okay unless you're older or unless you make more, okay? So, they give an example in the Guide to Retirement of a 40-year-old with a household income of 50,000 and 0% saved for retirement so far. So that person is gonna need to start saving if they're starting today, that person's gonna need to start saving 13% every year, between now and retirement. So, that's an awful lot, and I'm not saying everyone who's 40 needs to save 13%. I'm saying that if you're 40 and you've not even started saving for retirement yet, you have 0 money saved for retirement, then you're probably gonna need to do 13% or more to get yourself on track. It really kinda depends on where you are, and also it kinda depends, as you can see, on how much you make. The point of the illustration is the longer you wait, the harder this is gonna be. I would almost say it's gonna be impossible if you wait too long. So look at the person making $90,000. If you're at age 50 and you're just now starting to save for retirement, they're saying that you need to do 38% or more. That is really, really hard. $34,000, you can save $34,000 if you're making $1,000,000 a year, but not if you're making $90,000 a year. That's a third of your over a third of your income? That's crazy. So this is really, really hard, if not impossible. It's absolutely impossible to put more than $30,000 into your 401k. There's actually limits Congress puts on how much you could put into the 401k this year in 2023, and so it wouldn't even be possible. So it's just for illustration purposes. The point of the illustration is the sooner you start, the easier this is going to be. And if your company uses auto enrollment where you're being auto enrolled at like 3 or 4%, 5 or even 6, you probably, if you're older and you're just now getting started, you need to jump in and do a higher number than that to get yourself on track. Okay. Do you have any questions? Ask the fee only 401k advisors. If you're an employer, I'd love to get you a copy of the Guide to Retirement so that when you're designing your retirement plan, you're designing it for success. All right. We want you to all run the race well.